everyone, it's me, Sophia. If you've ever had your mother-in-law publicly humiliate you on your wedding anniversary, throwing out a dirty old box you cherished as trash in front of the entire family, cameras rolling, everyone laughing, only to discover later that box contained millions in forgotten family wealth, then this story is going to make your heart race and then make you scream with satisfaction. This is my revenge recall. How my toxic mother-in-law, on our 10th wedding anniversary, called my grandmother's old wooden box smelly junk and tossed it into the trash in front of my husband, my in-laws, and the live stream. How I disappeared with my little boy, rebuilt my life from nothing, and came back to expose the truth at her perfect 70th birthday gala, with every bank statement, every historical document, every lie laid bare. I was 35 on that anniversary. Let's go back to the moment my mother-in-law tried to erase my grandmother's legacy forever. My grandmother was my safe place. When she died, she left me one thing, an old, weathered wooden box she called the family vault. Inside were yellowed papers, stock certificates, savings bonds, deeds, notes from the 1940s and 50s when she invested every spare penny in companies like IBM, Coca-Cola, and early real estate. She told me, "Sophia, keep this box safe. One day it will mean something." I promised I would. I never opened it fully. It was sacred. I kept it in my closet, a quiet reminder of her. My mother-in-law, Vivian, always hated old things. She wanted everything new, shiny, expensive. When my husband Liam and I celebrated our 10th anniversary, she insisted on hosting the event of the year at their luxury estate, hundreds of guests, live stream, film crew. I brought the box to show Liam's family as a sweet story. During the toast, Vivian took the mic. She held up the box, dusty, worn, with Grandma's faded initials. "Look at this ugly old thing Sophia insists on keeping. Smelly, dusty junk from the past." She laughed, opened it, pulled out some papers, wrinkled her nose, and dramatically tossed the entire box into the trash bin by the bar. The crowd laughed. Liam looked shocked but said nothing. My in-laws stared. The cameras caught every second. Later, Liam whispered, "It was just a joke, Sophia. Mom's dramatic." But I couldn't breathe. That box was Grandma's life. I felt erased. That night, after the guests left, I dug through the trash behind the estate. The box was gone. Someone had emptied the bin. I cried in the car all the way home. Weeks later, Liam suggested we check the papers Vivian had pulled out before throwing it away. She'd left a few crumpled sheets on the table. We scanned them. Liam's eyes widened. "Sophia, these are old stock certificates. IBM, and T, Coca-Cola, from the 1950s. We went to the bank. The manager looked at the documents, then at me, then back at the papers. He sat down. Hard. "Miss Sophia, these are worth approximately $11 million today, with dividends reinvested." I couldn't breathe. $11 million. My grandmother's quiet investments, every penny she saved, had grown into a fortune. And my mother-in-law had called it trash and thrown it away. But the box was gone. The rest of the documents, the big ones, were lost. I confronted Vivian. "You threw away $11 million. Grandma's legacy." She laughed. "It was junk, Sophia. Old papers. You're being dramatic. Besides, it's family money. We'll split it if we find it." I left that house and never went back. I packed one bag for me, one for my son Theo, who was born 9 months after our wedding. Moved to a different state. Changed our names. Disappeared. The first 3 years after the anniversary humiliation were the darkest, most isolating time of my life. Theo was only 6 months old when we left, a tiny baby with Liam's eyes, who never knew the house where I used to dream of growing old. Every night he cried, and I cried with him, whispering, "It's okay, baby, mommy's here," while my heart felt like it was being torn apart. I moved us to a small, forgotten town 3 hours away, far enough to disappear, close enough that the scent of pine and earth still reminded me of Grandma. I rented the cheapest one-bedroom apartment I could find, a drafty place above a laundromat, with peeling wallpaper, a single window that looked out on a parking lot, and a mattress on the floor because I couldn't afford a bed frame. I worked 3 jobs at first. Mornings, cashier at a small grocery store, scanning cans and smiling at customers who never knew my name. Afternoons, cleaning houses, scrubbing floors on my knees while Theo stayed with a kind retired neighbor who charged almost nothing and let him nap. Evenings, waitressing at a diner, carrying trays of coffee and pie until my arms shook. I came home at midnight, smelling like grease and bleach, collapsed on the floor beside Theo's crib, so he wouldn't wake up alone. We ate instant noodles, canned soup, whatever was on sale. I skipped meals so he could have formula. I cried in the shower so he wouldn't hear. Depression wrapped around me like fog, thick, suffocating, unbreakable. Some days I couldn't get out of bed. I stared at the ceiling, wondering if this was all my life would ever be. But Theo kept me breathing. He started smiling at me, reaching for my face, babbling mama. It broke my heart and mended it at the same time. He reminded me of Grandma's love. He reminded me of the promise I made to keep the family vault safe. I started fighting in secret. I contacted a lawyer who specialized in lost assets and inheritance recovery, a quiet woman named Sarah who took my case on contingency because she believed in the story. We gathered what was left, the crumpled papers Vivian had pulled out before throwing the box away, a few photos I'd taken of the contents years earlier, Grandma's old letters mentioning the investments. Sarah sent everything to a financial historian and a stock recovery firm. It took months of digging through archives, old records, and bank statements. The result was staggering. $11 million in forgotten stocks, bonds, and dividends accumulated since the 1950s when Grandma invested every spare penny in companies like IBM, Coca-Cola, and early real estate. But the box was gone. The big certificates, the ones worth the most, were lost in the trash. Vivian claimed she didn't remember what happened to it. The family backed her. It was just old junk, Sophia. Let it go. My own husband, Liam, stayed silent at first, then said, "Mom didn't mean it. It's over." I confronted Vivian one last time. "You threw away $11 million. Grandma's legacy." She laughed. "It was junk, Sophia. Old papers. You're being dramatic. Besides, it's family money. We'll split it if we find it." I left that house and never went back. I packed one bag for me, one for Theo, moved to a different state, changed our names, disappeared. While the legal battle raged, I rebuilt in secret. I started a small online business, custom wedding invitations and stationery, using my graphic design skills. Every dollar went to legal fees and a tiny emergency fund. I learned asset recovery inside out, disputed claims, negotiated with banks, rebuilt my credit point by point. From ruin to 720. It was slow. It was painful. But it was mine. Year 3. The asset recovery firm located duplicates of most certificates in old bank vaults. The court ruled in my favor. The money was mine. Vivian had to pay damages for destruction of property. She appealed. Lost. The money started coming, slowly, painfully. I didn't spend a cent on luxury. I invested every dollar wisely. Index funds, real estate crowdfunding, small business loans for other scam victims. I launched Ever After Designs, wedding stationery with personal stories, ethical materials, meaningful designs. Followers grew fast. People loved the authenticity. Revenue trickled in. $50,000, then $200,000, then $1 million. I rented a small studio, hired my first employee, a single mom who'd lost her family heirlooms too. We grew together. I never stopped watching Vivian. Her perfect life continued, vacations, new car, bragging about her perfect family. But I knew the truth. The money she'd spent was running out. Lawsuits were piling up. Debt collectors were circling. I gathered more evidence. Bank statements, court rulings, witness statements. I had it all. By year 4, Ever After Designs was valued at $18 million. I had the capital. I had the proof. I had the plan. Vivian announced her 70th birthday gala. The biggest event of her life, live streamed, hundreds of guests, a celebration of family and success. I bought the venue, anonymously, through a shell company. The day of the gala, I walked in with my lawyer and a folder. The stage was set. Vivian in her designer gown, smiling for the cameras, about to give her toast. To family, to love, to the life I built. I stepped onto the stage uninvited. The crowd murmured. Vivian turned. Her smile froze. Sophia? I smiled back. Actually, it's the daughter-in-law whose $11 million legacy you called smelly junk and threw away on my anniversary. And today, I'm here to set the record straight. I connected my laptop to the screen, projected the evidence, old stock certificates, bank records, grandma's notes, court rulings, financial recovery reports, everything. The room went dead silent. Then gasps. Phones up. Live chat exploding. I spoke calmly. On my 10th anniversary, Vivian threw away grandma's wooden box, calling it smelly junk. Inside were investments worth $11 million today. She knew. She lied. She tried to erase it, but she couldn't erase the truth. I turned to the audience. I rebuilt. I launched Ever After Designs, meaningful, beautiful things. And today, I own this venue through legal acquisition. Vivian's gala is canceled. Permanently. The crowd erupted. Cheers. Tears. Phones recording. Vivian stood frozen. Security moved in, but this time, they were my security. The comeback wasn't a box. It was truth, undeniable, public, absolute. And it felt like the richest moment of my life. The 70th birthday gala was a spectacle of pure excess. Golden chandeliers dripping from the ceiling, ice sculptures shaped like swans, a 12-piece orchestra playing softly, and a room full of 250 guests in designer gowns and tuxedos, all there to celebrate Vivian's perfect life. The venue was the same luxury estate where our 10th anniversary had been held years ago, the place where she'd thrown away grandma's box like garbage. Live cameras streamed the event for friends and family who couldn't make it. Theo stayed backstage with my assistant, coloring pictures, excited for the shiny party but protected from the storm. I wore a simple cream gown from my own line. Elegant, understated, powerful. Cameras loved it. Guests asked about my inspiring journey. I kept answers gracious, smiling. The dinner progressed. Toasts. Laughter. Vivian took the stage in her sparkling gown, voice warm. Thank you all for celebrating 70 beautiful years. To family, to love, to the life I've built. Applause thundered. She gestured toward me. Even my daughter-in-law Sophia is here tonight, after all these years. It's never too late to come home. The crowd awed. I felt the old wound reopen. My turn. Asked for the mic. The room quieted, curious, polite. I have a toast too, I said, voice steady. I stepped forward. Theo handed me the folder from backstage. On our 10th anniversary, Vivian called Grandma's wooden box smelly junk and threw it away in front of everyone. She said it was trash. She laughed while the cameras rolled. That box contained $11 million in forgotten investments Grandma made over decades, stocks, bonds, dividends that grew silently. She knew. She lied. She tried to erase it. I opened the folder, projected the evidence on the massive screen behind her. Old stock certificates, bank records, Grandma's handwritten notes, photos of the box, court rulings, financial recovery reports, everything. The room went dead silent. Then gasps. Phones up. Live chat exploding. $11 million? She threw it away? This is insane. I trusted her. She was my mother-in-law. But she used Grandma's legacy for her own image, while I lost my inheritance, my memories, my future. I left with Theo. I rebuilt. And today, I'm here to reclaim what's mine. I turned to Vivian. The box was mine. The money was mine. I've sued and won. The assets are restored. And you owe me damages for destruction of property and emotional distress. The room erupted. Shouts. Tears. Relatives turning to Vivian. The stream chat went wild. This is insane. She threw away $11 million? Poor Sophia. Vivian's face collapsed. She tried to speak, voice cracking. Sophia, you're exaggerating. It was just old papers. No, I cut in. It was Grandma's life savings. And now the truth is public. The court papers are filed. The money is coming back to me. And you'll pay for what you threw away. Security moved in, not for me, but for her. The family stared in shock. My in-laws, cousins, aunts, uncles. All of them realizing the lies they believed. The comeback wasn't a box. It was truth, undeniable, public, absolute. And it felt like finally coming home. The months after the gala exposure felt like the final layer of a perfect wedding cake. Rich, satisfying, perfectly balanced. Every tier finally standing tall. The clip of my appearance on Vivian's 70th birthday gala went supernova. Billions of views combined, dissected on every finance and family drama podcast. Morning shows calling it the trash-to-treasure inheritance heist that backfired. Viral TikToks of Vivian's face freezing mid-toast. Hashtag Sophia claims trended worldwide for weeks. My brand, Ever After Designs, valuation soared past $80 million in months. Messages came in by the millions. Daughters who'd had heirlooms dismissed finally lawyering up. Women who'd rebuilt after family erasure saying, "You made me check the attic before it's too late." Young brides sharing how they now keep their own vaults safe. Some stories hit hardest. A woman sent photos of her reclaimed family jewelry box. "Because of you, I stopped letting my mother-in-law call it junk." Another shared her daughter's first wedding invitation designed with her grandmother's old lace. Generational beauty, but honest this time. I read them during quiet evenings, Theo asleep, tears blurring the sketches as I realized how many memories I'd helped preserve. Vivian's perfect world collapsed faster than a house of cards in a storm. Sponsors fled. Her social media empire, once untouchable, became a cautionary tale in etiquette classes. The 70th birthday downfall. She tried a comeback video, tearful apologies that got ratioed into oblivion. The family turned on her no more perfect mother-in-law. She ended up in a small apartment, low profile, debt collectors circling. Theo and I moved into a light-filled house I bought cash. Nothing extravagant, but ours. Every room had a piece of Grandma's memory, framed notes, old photos, a small wooden box I made myself. Theo started designing his own little cards, proud of a mom who turned trash into treasure. Vivian showed up at my studio 6 months later, no appointment, looking hollow in a plain coat. "Sophia, you took everything. My party. My reputation. Theo thinks I'm a monster. Was this worth destroying the family?" Theo was in the back room, cutting paper hearts for his first collection. For a second the old guilt tugged, the mother-in-law who once smiled at my wedding photos. Then I remembered the anniversary laughter, the box in the trash. Every night I rebuilt alone while she spent Grandma's legacy. "No, Vivian," I said, voice steady as a perfect fold. "You destroyed everything the day you called Grandma's life savings smelly junk and threw it away. I didn't destroy your life. I reclaimed ours from your carelessness." She had nothing left. I had the assistant escort her out. Years have passed now. Ever After Designs is a $150 million empire, custom stationery, wedding invitations, meaningful keepsakes in every language, mentorship programs for women reclaiming family heirlooms. Theo's a young teen, launching his own junior line, proud of a mom who turned betrayal into beauty. We live fully, bright studio home, shelves of paper and lace in every color, designs that tell real stories. My grandmother passed peacefully, knowing the truth. Vivian lives alone, low profile. She sees Theo occasionally, neutral cafes, polite. People still ask in interviews or comments, "Do you regret the exposure? Was it revenge?" I always give the full invitation. It wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. Reclamation of my grandmother's legacy, my worth, my future from someone who thought family meant throwing away the past. The moment I stopped letting her dismiss my heritage, I gave every daughter-in-law, Every keeper of memories, every person robbed of heirlooms permission to open their own box, fully, boldly, beautifully. If you're watching this and your family treasures your memories, your legacy have been called junk or thrown away, hear me. You can escape quietly. You can start small, one paper, one lawyer, one boundary. You can rebuild until your story is undeniable, your name is on the design. And when you do, you'll realize the only trash was ever letting them throw away what you treasured. That's my recall. Not discarded. Just reclaimed, redesigned, and finally mine. Thank you for listening. If this hit home, share your favorite reclaimed memory below. Someone needs to know they can frame it back too. See you in the next one.